Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the interview. Today, I have a special guest, another LA legend. And I love bringing the LA legends out. It's the funnest. That's why I do this. We got Mr. Kris Lawrie, everybody, man. Thank you for coming, man. I really do appreciate it.
Definitely appreciate the invite. It's good to be here.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We were talking a little bit be before the show, and always ask you about your experience growing up in LA. So I can introduce you, and I will, but I think it'd be best for you to introduce yourself, man. Let people know who you are, where you come from, and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm Kris Lawrie. Profession is fitness coach / step aerobics instructor. Um, I think the best thing to kind of describe me though is the life of the party. You know what I mean? Wherever I'm at, it's gonna be a good time wherever I am at. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm by the way of South Central LA.
Yeah, and we didn't put this in your description, but you are quite the comedian, so I will give you that.
and
Yeah,
it's not like I honestly don't try. You know what I mean? It's just natural.
yeah,
You
nah,
know?
nah, and I can say that you're a person that's always smiling. You always showing teeth, always showing love. You've always given off a positive vibe, and I guess that just comes with the profession of being a trainer, or is it just who you
I
are in
mean that
general?
I guess that's who I always been, really. Yeah.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's jump right into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about where you grew up and how that was. So you said I know you're telling me that you moved around a little bit between the Valley and Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How was that growing up? What was your experience like living in Los Angeles?
So let's see. So of course, first I stayed in the valley, so that was like the Pacoima area.
Yeah.
And I was out there for that earthquake in
Oh
'94.
wow.
Yeah,
I went to
yeah.
North Ridge, so he'll him a little bit.
Yeah. So I was there for that, and me and my mom moved out to LA. That was around 95, 96. We
Yeah.
stayed with my grandmother on 91st and Normandy. During that time my grandmother was ill. So we stayed with her just to take care of her. And that's kind of where my journey in LA began.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and you grew up in South Central. I always tell people to give cross streets because it's LA is huge. When you say from LA,
Right.
you could be
Exactly.
really kind of Pasadena if you really want to.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
but it's a
yeah.
whole different place.
Yeah.
So you but hail from literally South Central LA.
Yeah.
Like what cross streets are we talking
So
about here?
so when we first moved out here, we was 91st and Normandy. 91st and
91st. So
Normandy.
people who out there listening who don't know where that is, that's like Century in Normandy almost.
Right.
If you
Century and
want
Normandy.
the
Uh-huh.
major cross streets.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's yeah, man, that's yeah, you were in the hood for sure.
Yeah.
And
And
so
I didn't know.
yeah, so
I ain't
talk
know
about that.
none of
Like, do you
that.
spend a lot of time outside? You go outside? Was you in the house mostly?
Yeah, so while I was on that street, I definitely had a friend that stayed down the street. So we was outside, or I'll go to his house, play at in his backyard. Yeah, I spent some time outside. I think my real kind of outside was we stayed on 91st in Normandy. My mom ended up getting married, so we moved in with my stepdad, and he stayed off of 91st and Broadway. And
Wow.
that's kind of where I think the LA experiences, just as far as what was going on my block, kind of began. You know, I was green to a lot of things. A lot of things. You know what I mean? I think let me see, 91st and Broadway. That's the first time a girl danced on me.
using it
I,
hood for
I ain't
sure.
know what was going on.
And you was on the east side. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Now,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah,
From the
yeah.
west side to the east side.
Yeah. And I didn't know what was going on. So after that happened, I ran home. Cause I didn't know what was going on, man. So yeah, that's kind of like there was a older guy that stayed on that block, was talking about, I mean, there's a war going on. Like I guess he was talking about just like the street stuff that was going on in the neighborhood. But I didn't understand that. I thought he was talking about like World War III
Right.
tanks coming over. So I didn't really understand none of that what he was talking about.
So, which is interesting because as kids, like I use this analogy of a fish doesn't know it's in water until you put it on land.
Right.
It knows that there's a different place.
Right.
Did you feel like that? You just didn't know what you was in. You know that what pool you was in. You know you was in water.
Yeah. I ain't understand none of that. None of that, man.
So I know you played sports coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that was a catalyst for keeping you out of what was going on in the streets? Because, like you said, like Normandy and 91st, like I know that's Athens over there, and then you got where you was at. Now you're in a whole different hood. Now you got to transition, and there's a lot to get involved in. Just being outside. Like,
I'm
what do you felt like kept you away from that?
well, honestly, because I ain't getting into playing basketball, like organized sports until I played T-ball when I was 5, but I ain't get into basketball until I was in 4th grade. So that was before 4th grade.
Okay.
Um Shoot, I think it was just a healthy fear from particularly my dad.
Right.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to be in trouble like that,
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think that's kind of what kept me out of it, really, was just a healthy fear from my parents, specifically my dad.
I just had a conversation with my dad yesterday. And I told him the same thing. I was like, a lot of stuff I didn't do just because I didn't want to get in trouble. It's like I
Yeah,
want to do them too, but it's like, nah, I ain't trying to, Pop's gonna, he gonna
yeah.
bring the house down.
And then I think I just wasn't like those opportunities to get within the street stuff wasn't I never was around it
Mhm.
to even though I lived there, like there were some kids, I don't know what they did on their spare time outside, just playing outside, but like when I think about it, it wasn't really too many opportunities. Like we talked before, like I was always in private school.
Mhm.
So like a lot of those opportunities wasn't present for me,
Mhm. Hey
you
man,
know.
shout out to the parents that
Yeah.
knew how to put their kids in a situation where they can navigate out of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, so would you like give credit to your parents for
For sure. Kind of just, curating the environment, to keep me out of trouble.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I like honestly just thinking about it now, I really don't remember those pressures really
Yeah,
from outside.
yeah. Let me ask you this question. I like to ask LA natives this all the time because there's advantages and there's disadvantages from growing up anywhere. And LA is such uh, the most beautiful place in the world and the most dangerous place in the world at the same time. It's crazy. So, what advantages do you think that you've had now that obviously you've been around, you're an adult, you experience way more things, new places, new people. What advantages do you think that you've received because you were raised in LA when you move around in these different spaces?
I think I would say I don't know if it's particularly LA, but just I mean also through sports. Just a certain amount of toughness, mental
Mm.
toughness, I would say. Um, I think that's one of the most important things. I can't really that's a good question. I never really thought about that.
Yeah, no, because I've heard people say a lot of things. Like a lot of people say the pace here is so fast. So when you go other places,
Yeah,
that's a common one I've
it's
heard.
definitely slower going to other places. So
Mhm.
yeah, it definitely seems like because I went to school out in Colorado. So my last 3 years of college, I was in Colorado.
Word. Okay.
Um Pueblo. So that's a ways that's a town,
Right.
not
Right. Right.
necessarily a city. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Everybody know everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it was definitely you could just say Colorado because I spent a little bit of time in Denver just, hanging out and all that. It's definitely a lot slower out
Mhm.
there. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It felt like when I went out there, 2009, it felt like it was 2006 out there. Like
Yeah.
just as
It's
far
a
as like
few.
fashion and all
Yeah.
that, it was definitely a lot slower. A lot slower.
I experienced that when I go to Texas. I mean, I've been a lot of places. I could say the only place that can't keep that I feel like kept up was New York.
For sure.
Obviously,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
we go hand in hand. But outside of that, everything is definitely even major cities like Detroit, anywhere. It's
Hmm.
just 1 or 2 years behind. I would agree with you.
Right, right,
So
right,
I've
right.
gotten that answer. I've also gotten the answer of, being able to navigate danger, because when you're from LA, that's been a very common one. It's like, hey, you always keep your head on a swivel, kind of when you're in LA, because you just don't know.
Yes, I definitely, my antennas are definitely up. My antennas, but I would say, I mean, just going through to Colorado though, even certain parts of LA, like my antennas are up more than it is, in other parts of LA. So like when I'm going to Compton, like it's, I mean, what's going on?
Right, right,
Head on a swivel.
right, right.
But and this is no disrespect to any of these cities at all. But like if I go to Carson, I mean, I may be a little bit more relaxed.
Uh-huh.
I
Right.
mean, Carson, Gardena, I might be a little bit more relaxed, but things could happen anywhere.
No, for sure, and that's just knowing where you are. And
Yeah.
like I said, I've seen many people have said this. Knowing where you are, I'm always aware of where I'm at, because you can be on one block, and 2 blocks over, you're in a whole different
Right,
neighborhood,
right, right,
which the
right,
rules are different.
right.
So yeah, those are some common ones. What about disadvantages? Do you feel like because you're from LA, it's giving you some disadvantages, or do you feel like, man, I didn't get this because I'm from somewhere from here?
I think I would probably say kind of being a kid in LA, and I mean maybe kids everywhere may experience this, but kind of just like being worried about your perception to others a little bit more. Like, well, no, kids really try to fit in wherever, but like, I'll give you kind of a backstory. Like this, it was one time and I guess it was just how we grew up. So I had a one of my homeboys, one of my best friends, Kevin. We was out in Colorado cleaning out the dorms, and he had a fresh pair of um, it was some white shell toe Adidas, and he was like, we moving out, cleaning out the dorms and all that, and he was about to throw these shoes away. I was like, "What you doing? Throwing these shoes? Still got some life in them?" And he was like, "They're just shoes." Like that kind of made me think like I have like like I'm attached to certain material things where I put value on certain material things, and that like really just having that conversation with Kevin, he's from Annapolis, Maryland. Um like that kind of just made me think like they are just a pair of shoes. Like if he needed another pair, I mean it's not much to get another pair, but at the end of the day, it's just shoes,
Right,
you know.
right.
So I think maybe being from LA, being caught up in having all the Jordans and having a certain fit or whatnot, and being worried about that kind of could serve as a disadvantage, kind of.
I think that's fair to say. I think for me as well, it made me want less important things
Right,
for the idea of always wanting them.
right, 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 right,
Like there's no more value in Jordans than there are Skechers. They both serve the purpose, unless you're on a basketball court,
right,
which
right, right.
most people are not
Yeah,
when they're
they're not
wearing
hooping
them.
in
So
Skechers.
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
hooping.
yeah,
So it's I would agree. I would say that definitely does it does something different to you than it
yeah,
does in other places, which are more simple.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, man, I would agree with that. I want to move on to you as a professional, man. Now you are not only a fitness instructor and coach, but like I said, I kind of see you as a comedian as well, man, in some form of way. But also you act. I mean, you kind of wear a lot of hats, brother.
Yeah, I definitely dove in, couple things here and there, just trying to figure out what I enjoy and how I can make a living,
So let's start off with the fitness. Currently, right now, which is pretty popular, you've been doing your step aerobics classes, and then you were doing them out of your basement. I mean, your garage, right? And
As far as like the
yeah, the
videos. Yeah,
videos, which I'm
yeah,
sure brought a lot of attention
for
towards.
sure. Hmm.
So let's talk about that process. Like, was you doing it before the videos? Did the videos bring it to you? How'd you even get into step aerobics as being like, this is the thing I'm going to actually, master?
All right. So I got into step aerobics during the pandemic. So um like before the pandemic happened, I was just doing like the fitness training, and I wanted to get into more group training, having, maybe 10 plus people within my class. So I did try like a fitness class. Like it was like, I forget the date, but it was right before everything shut down. So I was trying to get into the class element to kind of scale my business a little bit. So the pandemic happens. Of course, during that time, that's where a lot of trainers were, moving to, IG Live or Instagram in general, just, putting workouts out to, kind of keep people healthy. And I didn't really want to do that route because everybody was doing that. So I was trying to think of ways of, it being different, but still being some type of workout. So it really started with like doing different dances or different line dances.
Okay.
So I know I did like I had this segment that was hot during the pandemic called Freaking and Fitness Fridays.
Right. Yes, it was.
Let me see. The first song I did was it was a like a remix of a Tootsie Roll. So just doing the Tootsie Roll as a workout, because essentially, I mean, it may not be looked as a workout, but you're being active while you're dancing.
Yeah.
And I think that's overlooked by a lot of people. They just think, oh, I need to be in the gym to be active. Nah, you could be active within your everyday life. So it just started with the dances and whatnot, and then just being on YouTube, came across step aerobics. And then I was like, okay, this is cool. It's still it's an element of dancing, so it doesn't quite seem like a workout, but it definitely you could get some good work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started. Just being at home during the pandemic, came across step aerobics, specifically extreme hip hop with Phil. And I just started, doing those videos, step aerobic videos, like every Friday. And it was getting such a good reception from people, like, oh, you need to do that. If these classes come out, I'm definitely signing up. I was like, oh, word? Okay, we need to look at how can I get certified? So I ended up getting certified. Like it was the end of August, September 2020. So that's kind of when I got certified, and then I started doing classes in October 2020.
And that's pretty interesting because, as men, I would say as men, we generally look at certain workouts as, we're not, I guess, on the weights, or we're not doing some type of CrossFit training.
Right.
It usually don't fall into our category of what we're going to do. And I was talking earlier, much like Zumba has become, I mean, it's now its own thing, right? It's
right.
Its own thing. Is step aerobics, do you feel like it's still new? Is it old? Is something that people should get into? Like, what do you see it falling on the spectrum of fitness?
So it's definitely old. It's not like the step aerobics isn't new. It's kind of, it goes through its trends. So it might have been a little bit more popular or had a wave during the 80s, during the 90s, and then kind of went away. But it's definitely I would say an auntie workout. You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Women are definitely going to gravitate to that a little bit more.
Is it, so when you're doing this, is that your market? Is your market women?
It's definitely, yes, aunties. Specifically, my avatar is about 37, single mom, doesn't really have too much time, doesn't really like working out, but she likes to dance, she likes music. So that's kind of who I'm marketing to, especially for the step aerobics.
I'm mad you said auntie, because in the Black community we all know what that looks like. What that is. So that's pretty cool. So do you feel like now that is your avatar, do you feel like men should get more involved in
yeah, so I mean, it's a form of cardio. So just in general, I think men don't do cardio as far as like the running or any fast-paced circuit style training. That's not what men do. Men generally upper body workouts. We on the bench doing the curls, trying to lift heavy. And I mean, it definitely could benefit men to do some form of cardio, specifically step aerobics, because like I said, it doesn't really seem like a workout. You know, music's just good music. You kind of just dancing, it seemed like, but that kind of cardio or just any type of cardio could help you with your weightlifting as well. So that's definitely something men should look into.
So I mean, because dancing to a degree, depending on what the style of dance or the style of dance is out today, some men may be fearful that, oh, it could be more feminine than I want, because
Right.
generally, we in the gym doing that. So how would you address that for men who feel like that's what's stopping them from actually doing step aerobics, that it just feels maybe more feminine or less manly than they would like when they in the gym?
It's not. I mean, doing cardio isn't. Well, I mean, doesn't make you feminine.
I mean,
right?
Not necessarily running, but in the form of dance.
Right.
Dance.
So I mean, it's not. It's. Let me kind of back it up. It's not necessarily dancing, but it's like choreography. It's moves. It's certain moves. Like if I call out a certain move, that's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, I mean, I do have some call outs like L twerk. That's for the ladies, for them to,
right. You know
what I mean? But there's other things that the men could do
within
that kind of just keep them still, keep them within, the count or on rhythm. But like, it's not, like we just twerking the whole class. It's just you moving, and it's more so knees up, touching your toes, reaching, doing those sort of things. So it's not really any moves you could say is feminine moves like that. So men definitely should be open to it. It's not like you're going to look like you're less manly. You might even, I mean, the women may even like that, I mean? Because one, you might be the only man in the class, I mean? Because I could definitely count. It's definitely, it hasn't been over 10 men that's been in my class since I've been teaching. And it's going on 3 years.
And that's incredible, because you talk about your avatar. Maybe we have another marketing plan. I'm enjoying this marketing plan. Single men, uncles, for the aunties,
yeah.
We may be onto something, man. But I agree. I do think. I agree with you. Men generally don't do cardio regularly outside of if it's a form of like basketball, maybe,
right,
or something like that, which is still not regularly. At a certain age, they're not
exactly.
You're not hitting the gym every day like that, outside of lifting or whatnot. So, I thank you for definitely clearing that up, because people want to know. Like I see it all the time. I got another buddy who does it, and I'm like, man, I'll be seeing like 1 or 2 dudes. Like, I wonder why dudes ain't really out there getting this work, but women out here getting this work.
Yeah. I mean, it could be just it's something new. So I mean, there's not necessarily to start. You just gotta be open to trying something new. There is a form of coordination that's within it. You could be bad at first, but if you could continue to do it and work at it and show up, you eventually get better coordination. So that could be something that I think just in general that people fear.
Through step aerobics, what kind of results do you what's some of like the best results you've seen from your clients just through your step aerobics process?
I think, well, just as far as the results,
I mean, for like a client, like what have you seen them? How much weight did they lose? Did they get?
So that really depends. I mean, that's because it's just that's just the step aerobics, or my class is just 1 hour. Mm-hmm. Really, the amount of results or whatever results they're looking for, as far as like maybe weight loss, that's going to come through things outside of my class.
Right. Yeah.
I mean? So the eating and, the sleeping and the things that the other time outside of the hour with me, what you're going to do. But as far as like, I think just within my class itself is better coordination. You know what I mean? Maybe better confidence
Okay.
in some sort.
Yeah.
I think those are some of the, I would say, non-scale victories or non-scale results that some
Right.
people will
The
see.
intangibles.
Yeah,
I would agree with that because anytime you go work out, you feel better. You ain't lose not 1 pound, but you
exactly,
feel
exactly.
like I'm about to go drink some water and eat a salad. Like
Right,
so.
right. So yeah, so and generally that's what happens when you start working out. Like you start to think, oh, maybe I shouldn't eat this. I should maybe get a salad or get some a healthier option. So that could happen just from starting to work out.
Yeah, which is interesting because I think what you've done too to separate yourself from people who are doing this is you've added a layer of comedy to it, right? You come in character, you wearing wigs, you wearing costumes. What made you add that layer to step aerobics?
I mean, just as far as like the wig and the costume,
Just
like
the whole character portion of it to be different characters.
I mean, I think because it like I just when I think of a step instructor, what they would look like in the 80s or 90s, they would have a Jerry curl or some sort. But as far as like why I brought that to specifically my step class, working out got to be enjoyable, especially if you want to stick at it for a long period of time. It has to be something you enjoy. It can't be something you hate. So like when people come to my class, it's not only the music, but just, with me, how I am within my class, it's an enjoyable atmosphere. So if it's enjoyable, that's a place that they probably want to come to more often.
So, like, how much have you invested into costume? Like, how many different characters do you
Let me
have
see. I
now?
definitely have 2 wigs. I got I got a couple of like leotards or unitards.
Uh-huh.
So I definitely look to invest
Right.
in how I appear within the class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. I'll spend a couple of $100, you know what I mean? Yeah, on my appearance, just for my class or just for my videos. But I think it's a worthy investment for sure.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I mean, it's direct return, whether it be the responses, and
Right.
I think what's smart that now people ain't watching it just for the step aerobics; they're watching it for the entertainment you provide in the video, or that makes them want to become part of your class because I'm not just here to work out, but I'm also here. I'm being entertained,
Right.
and I don't know who it was that said it, but some very smart black man. I'm mad I can't remember the name right now, but said, you can't teach you can't educate them until you entertain them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how we
That's right.
operate. That's how we operate.
Definitely got to put the medicine in the candy.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah.
So I think that you've done that. I mean, has there been any challenges with that? Has it ever been like you're like, man, this character did not work out, like for whatever reason?
I think kind of the challenges was and I mean this kind of went into just being more organized, is being consistent with as far as putting out the video every Friday. Maybe not always being in the mood to play a character, even though this character per se, it's just me with a wig on or a unitard. It's just really just kind of just being more organized to be able to do the video, because I don't want to seem like I'm acting too much. Like if you go through my video and whatnot, or through the archive of the videos that I have, it's not necessarily me acting. It's just me being who I am, and kind of the music bringing that out. You know what I mean? I think that was a challenge, and then just kind of just growing my classes. Shoot, my first class, I think I was slated to have like maybe 7, 8 people. One person only showed up. So going through that, and that was just the first class. After that, I kind of seen a steady amount of people or consistent people to come to my class, and then really, I think just building out the class.
So how did you feel when you you prepare for this? You like, man, I know it's about to blow up. Everybody about to come. They've been saying they want to come. They've been saying if I have a class on it, they gonna come. You expect 8 people. One person shows up. What are you feeling at that moment?
So, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. That one person that showed up, she was late, so I actually thought nobody was gonna show up. I was like, oh dang. And I mean, just with kind of understanding or having some understanding of business and whatnot, like it's not gonna pop off right away. So it was just really, I was thinking, okay, this is an opportunity where I could kind of maybe work on some steps or whatever the case may be. And then that person ended up showing up. I believe it was Jessica. Jessica ended up showing up. And it ended up being a good time. But it was definitely a couple of times where like a year later, where I've had classes planned and nobody showed up. Like it definitely within the moment, it hurts for sure. But it's definitely a part of the business. It's a part of the journey of trying to build it out and really it's not it doesn't necessarily have a reflection of me per se. Maybe I could do some things a little bit different as maybe marketing or whatever.
See,
but
that's what I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you, like, after those moments, like, okay, nobody showed up. Did you have that moment like, man, this might not really work out, or I might not be in my lane, or
not really. It was just maybe I need to do something different. So like the I would say per se as far as marketing, like I would say those freaking Fitness Friday videos were helpful. And the time where I kind of fell off of posting every Friday, I think that's when I think I seen a little bit of a correlation of people not showing up. So making sure, I'm putting it out there that I got class Monday night. Make sure you there. Making sure I have a video. I think that was kind of a correlation, really. And really just making sure whatever time that I set for my classes Monday, 8 p.m., Saturday, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and also Thursdays, 6 p.m. Making sure I'm there every single that time, every week. Because another thing that kind of dipped within it, and I know we didn't get to it yet, was when I did it my little acting. I did a little bit of work to where I had to cancel some classes. And if I canceled some classes, then that's when kind of people started falling off or wasn't showing up because I had to cancel the class. So I mean, really, that was kind of just opportunities for other people, like, oh, Kris isn't available this time, maybe I should find something else.
How would you handle that now if you had to cancel the class?
Oh, I try not to cancel.
I mean,
I try my best not to cancel or
get a sub or something.
Yeah, that's definitely an opportunity. So there's other instructors that are certified through the same company as me. I could reach out to another instructor. Hey, can you fill in for me just to keep the people? Keep the consistency.
Yeah, that is important when you do anything, because as soon as you start canceling, it's like, oh, okay,
yeah,
all right. That's where he might be canceling all the time.
Right. Yeah.
So let's jump into that. You acting. Did that come from some of the characters you were playing, or were you already pursuing that and that it kind of fell over into? Because now you, like I said, for me, you are a comedic actor to a degree, right? You're not. I never seen. I don't know if you do stand up. Do you do stand up?
Nah.
I never seen you. So more so of a comedic actor, and that shows when you're doing your step aerobics courses and videos. Did that come before you start acting on, like, like the real stage, or did that come? What was first?
So when I got into the acting, I was more so trying to get into like sports commercials. So really just my love for basketball or just fitness in general kind of led me to, you know, doing some background acting and just kind of seeing some of my peers that play basketball. They're in, you know, your Nike commercials. They're in certain movies. So I was like, I need to look into that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, you do some acting. You know what I mean? If you get on the right commercial, if the cameras see you, you know what I mean? You could get a nice little check. And I mean, really, on, you know, when it comes to the acting, it's not really hard. You know what I mean? Because they may have you do something for like 10 seconds. All right, run that back. Let's do it over. Right. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, the hard part is just really recreating or trying to recreate the act over and over, but it's not really strenuous work.
Right.
So I definitely looked into acting more so. That was in like maybe 2013, 2014, around that time. Okay. Yeah.
See, and you in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
the home of it, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everything is happening out here.
So you were in, I mean, I know I can say I watched the entire series on, I forget, it was called the Lakers.
Winning Time.
Winning Time, like Showtime Lakers, right?
About
about the Showtime Lakers.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Because you were like a part of the actual team itself, like the Laker team. So what was that like, acting on such a, I mean, as for the time, one of the biggest series that dropped?
Yeah. Nah, it was that was definitely a great experience. That was actually something. So Winning Time, the first season started airing, that was last year, so 2022. Mm-hmm. We actually started working on Winning Time or doing some scenes from Winning Time in 2019.
Okay. Wow.
So like we did like it was certain scenes that didn't make the actual show, right, but it was actually in the credits. So the opening credits, we shot all of that in 2019. So going into that, if you've been, for those that are background actors or even sports that try to do the sports stuff, most of the time what the directors or, you know, the casting is looking for is more so the look. It's not always the talent per se. Mm-hmm. So I remember going to the audition, and you know, I got it. I have basketball experience,
right,
like real basketball experience. I past high school, right, I played in college, played some semi-pro, done some things overseas and whatnot. So I have extensive. I know how to play basketball.
Right.
So, you know, going there, showing up, you know, I do my thing. I did well in that initial audition.
What was the audition like? Was it like just round fives or what?
No. So so particularly for Winning Time, they were actually looking for people that look like basketball players. So you have to have the physique of a basketball player. Wow. Actually, and you actually have to be able to do some things, like you got to run like a basketball player. If you could jump, you need to dunk the ball. Right. If you could shoot, you better make the shot. Mm-hmm. So like really, Edon, he was actually you could say like the basketball coordinator. So Edon is an actual basketball trainer. He's trained Chris Paul. He's done some work with Carmelo Anthony and some other NBA players.
Right, he does it.
So it was that audition, it wasn't extensive, but if you wasn't in shape, you was gonna look bad, because he had us run full court, up and back fast as you can, do defensive slides as fast as you can. Then we're going to do full court layups. So go down, run, dribble the ball as hard as you can, as fast as you can, make the layup, come back, do the same thing. Now do it as fast as you can, pull up for a jumper, do the same thing on the other side. And
so y'all are really having workouts.
Yeah, but it wasn't that long. So like the audition, most auditions in general, they're 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, so the drive there could be longer than the audition. So yeah, so it was really just 5 minutes, but he just wanted to see, like, you could do these things.
Right.
And there was folks that thought, hey, I played basketball in high school. You know what I mean?
I'm just gonna come out here and get
I'm just gonna come out. I ain't played in 10 years, but you know, I know how to play basketball.
Right.
and they was about to throw up after the audition.
Wow.
So like you definitely have to be prepared for this audition. So that's kind of what the audition looks like with specifically with it Don.
Right, because people thinking like, "Oh, you ain't say no lines or nothing? It's just ball."
Nah, yeah, it was
That's
just ball.
crazy.
Yeah. So particularly, I was just going for, like they were trying to cast like the basketball players outside of the actors.
Right.
They was trying to cast the basketball players around the actors.
Right. Interesting. No, that's pretty interesting because nobody really know how these auditions go or how they happen. So I'm glad you giving that insight because when you think of I'm an audition, I'm just gonna go and read some lines and to be or not to be, that's what they think.
I mean, well, it really depends on the part that you're going for, but specifically for sports part, you definitely have to show the fitness because, like I said, when it's time to film, take 1, okay, take 15, okay, take 20. All right, that's a good shot. We got to get this other camera, so we got to do it again. So you got to be able to replicate the scene and your abilities over and over without being fatigued or getting to that point of fatigue to where you can't perform anymore. So you definitely got to be in shape.
That makes a lot of sense, man. You got some more stuff coming up because now, I mean, you kind of solidified now. I mean, on the screen.
I did a little bit. I did one scene for Winning Time season 2, so that's coming out soon. They just wrapped that up, and really with the acting, it really depends on what's available. Because, like I said, it like going into, even though Winning Time was definitely a great opportunity, it affected the step aerobics, my classes, and all that. So it's really just about finding something that doesn't really collide with the time with the step aerobics or my fitness training in general, because I think that's the most important thing is, I'm making promises to people or making commitments to people, helping them get to the healthier version of them. I have to be available for that. So I don't want to be taking on jobs, even though, it could seem like I said, Winning Time was a great opportunity.
I mean, how can you say no to that?
Yeah, I mean, I see myself on HBO.
Right.
I'm seeing myself on TV.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a nice little check that comes that comes with that. But I wanted something long term, and I think long term, and like I said, I'm making these commitment to these people. So it's just really about finding something that doesn't collide with that.
Yeah. I like to ask this question too because now that we're at the end of a year, at the beginning of a new one, however you see it, but generally people will take these moments to say, "Man, I'm reflecting on what happened last year and how I'm gonna take it on this year." If you could sit next to yourself on that couch from like your 1 year ago self, just 1 year, not when you was a kid, just literally yourself 1 year ago. You're starting 2023, but yourself in January 2022. What would you want to share with your year ago self?
Repeat that question one more time.
If you were sitting next to yourself a year ago, so sitting right next to you look to the left, and that's you, January 2022, you got the opportunity to tell your your younger self, what would you tell them?
And I think this is something I already knew, but just reiteration of just being consistent. Be consistent with what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to build this business. Be consistent. Make sure you're constantly showing up. Make sure you taking care. Oh, that's a big thing. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure, I know you caught up in trying to, grow your business, make more money and all these things, but don't shortchange yourself to where, you're constantly giving to everybody else to where you're not really refilling yourself to be able to maintain the level of giving that you're giving everybody else. Make sure you take care of yourself. And that looks like, making sure you staying active, making sure you're reading. Maybe you should write your thoughts down. Maybe do some journaling. Take time to really care for yourself. because you're trying to operate at a high level. We can't operate at a high level with a low battery. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So make sure you're recharging yourself.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like to always ask that question because you get that reflective year. Like, okay, what did I learn this year? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it's give you that opportunity to really understand what you did learn. And I feel like it's been a common thread of that take care of yourself. I don't know what happened last year, everybody, but I feel like, everybody started taking care of themselves or start
Mm-hmm.
learning that lesson. And even then, that could feel for other people, it could feel some kind of way because they're choosing themselves instead of you or sometime or whatever the
Yeah.
case
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah. I think really the pandemic did a number on a lot of people. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And some people, I would say myself, like I ain't really realize it, and I'm still learning about the effects of the pandemic. Like it did a number on a lot of people. So just kind of having that time, that solitude, um, really gave people that opportunity to really look at themselves.
It changed lives.
Yeah,
It
for
changed lives.
sure.
Changed mine.
Yeah, and
So
I mean, and during that time, it could have went both ways for people. It could have got better, could have got worse.
and some people would did.
Yeah,
Some people it did. It
yeah,
went both ways for
for
people.
sure, for sure. So like we talked about fitness. Some people lost weight during that time. Some people gained weight during
Real
that time.
talk. Real talk. I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
remember
mean,
I remember going to the Big Five. I couldn't find a dumbbell in there. You know what I mean?
yeah, everything was sold out.
Yeah.
Everything was sold out.
Man. Final question I like to ask, and I talked to you a little bit about this prior because this is another reflective question. But one day we will leave. We know that the day you're born, you sign a contract to die,
Mm.
and that is the reality. So we don't take the opportunity to think about what we want to say to people if when that time comes. So I like to provide that opportunity. I don't know if you do have any siblings, but if you do have any siblings, do you do? Let me ask you: do you have any
I'm
siblings?
the only child.
You're the only child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome for you. So you
Yeah.
ain't got to worry about them then. I was the only child till I was 12, so I know what it's really like. At 12 years old,
Mm-hmm.
my sister was born, but at that time I had already, we so far apart that I'm still kind of in my own world. Um, Her parents, man, what's something you want to tell your parents, man? If this was your last opportunity to say something to them.
Oof, ooh, 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 ooh. Because I know. At least my dad may check this out. I think he definitely did a good job with um, how he raised me. Um, maybe within the moments that the times where he had to discipline me, I didn't understand it, and it could have been um some level of conflict between me and my dad specifically, and also my mom. Like I understand why they did what they did, and I know they did the best that they could, and they did an excellent job in molding me to who I am, as far as just being as best as I can, being responsible, being a decent human, being a good human, being a kind person. I think they definitely did a good job of just making sure, I had on my head on straight. So um I think they did an excellent job, and I really thank them for, kind of curating the the environment that I grew up in. Cause like when you think about it, having being a kid from LA with both parents in the household, that's like I got friends. Most of my friends didn't have their father in their life.
Right, right.
And I kind of realized like that was kind of a realization while I was younger, or maybe in high school, college. But now being an adult and seeing the the effect of not being of a father not being around. Like I thank my dad for being at every event as much as he can. Like there wasn't too many high school games he missed. There wasn't too many plays or whatever I was a part of. It wasn't too many things that he missed. And like as an adult, like I'm seeing the importance that was, and it wasn't easy. Like my dad stayed in the valley. You know what I mean? Trying to make these games out in LA in the afternoon through rush hour traffic. And, just, some of the things that he had to sacrifice and the trade-offs he had to make so I could be better, so I could be safe, or to make sure I had everything that I had. I'm just thankful that I grew up the way I grew up. So I just thank my parents for that, for sure. They did a great job.
Yeah, man, I always give love to the parents, man. That's super important. And you really think about it now that we are adults, like, man, they kind of was had a handful,
They definitely set the bar.
Right.
They set the bar.
Immediate family, like if there's any like aunties that couldn't, that was like second mom, or cousins that was like a brother or a sister.
I think kind of the same thing, because it definitely was a village growing up, because it was just me and my mom. So, sometimes they had to, look after me, and kind of the same thing, just really creating a safe space for me, so I could be who I was, or be who I am. I really just encourage, all the words to be where I'm at today, and to continue to, push on. So it's just really thanks for kind of when if my mom had to work or whatever the case may be, and my auntie had to watch me, just thank you for keeping me safe, for sure. Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, I always say, the homies,
The homies.
the homies that, blood couldn't make y'all no closer. You ain't got to say no names. I know we got a bunch of homies, but they usually know who they are. What's something that you want to leave them with?
Really just thank you for allowing me to be who I am. You know what I mean? And hopefully, some of the things that I've how I live, of just really being myself, no matter the place or wherever we may be, just being myself. And you know what I mean, y'all continue to live well, take care of yourselves, take care of your responsibilities, you know what I mean, and really just enjoy what Brene Brown would say, enjoy the ordinary moments. You know what I mean, just really those moments where it's not really anything spectacular, but really just take your time to be present and enjoy the moment. I definitely want to leave the homies with that, for sure.
All right. Well, just let everybody know where they can find you at. I know you got social media handles where they can expect the next classes to be.
Yeah. So you can tap in.
Fill them up, man.
So the fitness page is KC Fitness Training. So KC Fitness Training. There, everything is spelled proper. And then the personal Instagram is Kris, KRIS LA. Hold on, let me get the camera. AWRIE. So it's 5 A's. You know what I mean? So yeah, y'all can follow up on Instagram on that. And if you type in Kris Lawrie, all my socials pop up on Google.
You got classes coming up, or what day?
Oh yeah. Classes. So this live. Yeah, we live. Yeah. So we got class tonight. That's Monday, 8 p.m. That's at Romance and Dance in Inglewood.
Are you there every Monday?
Every Monday. I'm there every Monday and every Saturday. Okay. So Mondays is 8 p.m. Saturdays is 9 and 10, but this Saturday will be 8 a.m. And then Thursdays we're at the Jazz Standard in Gardena. That's off of 139th in between Normandy and Western. We're there Thursday, 6 p.m. Yeah, that, and then I mean, you follow me on all the socials. It's a couple of pop-ups that may happen, I mean, so just stay tuned on there as well.
Hey man, I appreciate you so much for spending time with me, man, and sharing your story with me and your experiences. It means a lot to myself and to my audience, man.
Yeah.
So
No, I
thank you.
definitely appreciate the opportunity.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kris Lawrie.